Hello, I'm Archie Luxury and welcome to the series The Art of Buying and Selling Luxury Wristwatches. And today I want to talk about what pieces should you steer towards in your collection. And you know, it's a very interesting thing. I've given so much advice in this series. I've told people not to be flippers, to buy things from reputable second-hand dealers, second-hand watch dealers. I've given all this advice. And one of the most important questions is, what watches should you buy? And what I highly recommend is, I highly recommend that you buy pieces which are icons for that brand. And what I mean by that is, okay, we're thinking Patek Philippe. It's famous for its elegant dress watch, the Calatrava. It's also famous for complications. A brand like Audemars Piguet, it's famous for its Royal Oak series and Royal Oak Offshore series. A brand like Jaeger-LeCoultre, famous for its Reverso and Master Control. A brand like Rolex, famous for its sports watches, the Submariner, the GMT, the Daytona. These sports watches are keys to the Rolex range. Omega, the Seamaster, and the Omega Speedmaster Man on the Moon, icons. In my opinion, you want to retain value and make a good investment, always buy the iconic models in that range. And there's a very good reason for that. It's because those icons will continue to hold their own and increase in value. And let me give you an example. I know a really good doctor. This is a good doctor who nearly bought my Calatrava. He bought a Neptune. It's a Patek Philippe Neptune years ago. And this is a very 90s, very early 90s type of watch. And it's aged badly. It's not a sports watch. It's not a dress watch. It's sort of a lounge lizard watch. And, you know, that would have been the same money as buying a Calatrava at the time. It uses a 315 movement, which is the same movement as my annual calendar and my Calatrava. But it's such an ugly dog now. It's dated so badly, and it's because Patek's not famous for the lounge lizard type watch. Lounge lizard type watch, you go Rolex Datejust. Lounge lizard type watch, Audemars Piguet. That's lounge lizard type watch. And this is the key parts. When you're buying a brand, you want to get a brand that's famous for a model, and that model is the one that you want. Brands like Breguet, you might say, well, Breguet, is it really famous for the Type 20? Well, yes, it is, because that's such a key part. It's a flyback chronograph. It's a Breguet. But yes, a Breguet dress watch is equally a wonderful piece to own and possess. The other piece of advice is, look, what two brands of watches are really, really resilient? And there's two brands, Patek and Rolex. You buy Patek and Rolex, you buy it second-hand on the pre-owned market, and you will never lose. You will never, ever lose. Rolex and Patek, those are the two strongest brands that are there. Now, a brand like Jaeger-LeCoultre is a great brand, but, you know, Rolex and Patek are very, very, they're in blue-chip investment type watches to get. Jaeger-LeCoultre, if you've got a Reverso, it's always an iconic piece. It's what the model's famous for. It's funky. It's knick-knacky. Blokes love to fiddle. This is why that model is so much so desirable. And I can understand why, because it's a great model. So my advice is, buy the icons. That's the most important thing you can do. You buy the icons, you'll always be able to sell it or trade out of it, etc. And that's really where true enjoyment comes in. It's from having a model that everyone wants. And it's that desire. I remember years ago when I was a kid, my father told me he bought a Tonka truck for me. And he told me he took it home on the bus and these other kids tried to steal it off him. And I used to love that Tonka truck because I knew some other kids were trying to steal it when it was new. And it's a stupid story, but the reality is we like to know we've got things that other people find desirable. When you got a big-breasted, beautiful model girlfriend, it's because every other bloke is trying to get his end into her. It makes it highly desirable. And the same can be said for wristwatches and sports cars. And the most important thing is get pieces that are iconic, and you'll always have a classic. If you have an E-Type Jaguar Series 1, it doesn't matter how old it is. It's so classic and iconic, it's ageless and timeless. And this is the key to buying a wristwatch. Go for the icons, go for Patek and Rolex, and you will never lose money. I'm Archie Luxury. Tell me what you fuckers think of that.